ZS200GY-5 Carrera. Reassembly steps and maintenance. Reinstall steps. Install handle tube and switch chassis.
Firstly, install the handle tube. Pay attention to aligning the key teeth of the handle tube with both sides of the socket, and tighten the bolts diagonally. Then install the left switch assembly. Make sure that the switch assembly locating pin is inserted into the locating hole on the handle tube. After that, install the clutch handlebar. Make sure the arrow mark on the positioning seat is facing upwards, and then plug in the clutch switch cable. 2. Install side stand. Apply lubricating oil to the side stand. Tighten the nut with a torque value of 20 to 25. And install the supportive spring from top to bottom. 3. Install rear shock absorber, inserting the bolt from right to left, and tighten the nut with a torque value of 55 to 65. 4. Install the front wheel and front disc brake pump. Firstly, install the front fender bracket. Notice that the front fender bracket faces forward. Then install the front wheel assembly, noticing that the lubricating oil should be applied to the front wheel bush. Insert the front axle from left to right. And tighten the front wheel lock nut with a torque value of 70 to 80. Then install the front disc brake pump. Notice that the tighten bolts should be applied sealant, with a tightening torque value of 28 to 32. 5. Install the front bracket. Notice that the two middle bolts be positioned first, then tightening one bolt on each side, and finally tightening the two middle bolts. 6. Install instruments. Notice that the left and right positioning pins should be locked in position first, and then tighten the 3 bolts. Then plug in the instrument cable and locking cables. Notice that the left and right turn signal cable thread should be clipped into the front bracket, the cable harness being fixed with zip ties, and the speed counter cable being fixed with cable clamps. 7. Install the front light assembly. Notice that catch of the front headlight assembly should be inserted into first. Then plug in the front headlight cable harness, and tighten the 4 bolts on each side, paying attention to the 2 specifications of bolts, M6 and M5. 8. Install the left and right fuel tank decorative covers. Firstly, install the left and right front turn signals onto the left and right decorative covers. Notice that we should distinguish the turn signals according to the color of the wiring harness, with left orange and right blue. When installing, the turn signal lights face forward. After installation, the left and right must be kept at the same angle when compared. Then install the left and right decorative covers of the fuel tank. Notice that the catch of the left and right covers be inserted into place first. When tightening the bolts, make sure that the front two bolts are M5 and the rear one is M6. Install the front fender. When tightening the bolts, notice the bolt on the right speed line clip is longer than the other bolts, and the left clip is used to fasten the front disc brake oil pipe. 10. Install the left and right fuel tank guards. Notice that the pins of the left and right protective plates be inserted into place first, and fastening bolt on each side is located below the front end of the side cover. 11. Install the commuting board. First, insert the commuting board in place. Then tighten the bolts. Notice that the two middle bolts are M6 and the four left and right bolts are M5. 12. Install bumper. Install the left and right side bumper first. Notice not to tighten the bolts at the lower end of the side bumper. Then install the main bumper. Notice avoiding collision damage. It should take precedence to tighten the two bolts in the middle of the upper end of the main bar, and then insert the connecting bolts between the main bumper and the left and right side bumper from left to right. Tighten the nuts with a torque value of 28 to 32. Finally, tighten all bolts. 13. Install the lower commuting cover. Place two fastening bolts on each side. Notice that flange pads be added inside the bolts. 14. Install left and right spotlights. Spotlights are optional and are not fixed installation configuration. Install them on the bumper according to your own habits. Notice wiring the harness from the inside of the bumper and fastening it with zip ties. 15. Install the left and right handle covers. During installation, notice adjusting the angle between the handle cover and the handle to avoid interference, and then tighten the bolts. 16. Install rear view mirror. Please tighten clockwise during installation, and adjust the lens angle according to your own needs after tightening. 17. Install the wave plate and bracket. First, install the wave plate bracket with 3 bolts. Then install the wave plate again, 4 bolts. Notice that flange pads should be added when tightening. 18. Install chain case. 2 bolts. Notice that washers should be added when tightening. 2. Maintenance and upkeep. 1. Check the fastening of key parts of the vehicle. The locking nut of the steering column should be fixed with 30-gauge wrench with a torque value of 50 to 60. The locking nuts for the front and rear axles should be fixed with sockets with a specification of 19. The torque value of the front locking nut is 70 to 80, and the torque value of the rear locking nut is 85 to 95. The locking nut of the fork shaft should be fixed with sockets with a specification of 21 and a torque value of 60 to 70. 2. Check the lighting and signals of the entire vehicle. First, turn on the ignition lock. After the instrument panel lights up, check the small lights, high and low beams of the headlights, overtaking lights, front, rear, left and right turn signals, emergency lights, and front and rear brake lights in sequence. Three. Check the chain. The vertical range of chain should be limited from 25 mm to 35 mm. Pay attention to cleaning and remember to apply a small amount of lubricating oil during regular maintenance. The amplitude adjustment is made through the chain adjuster at the end of the fork. Notice that it should be kept on the same scale line on both sides. 4. Check the brake friction pads. The front and rear brake friction pads can be observed by naked eye to see if they are completely worn. If the visibility is poor, use a flashlight to observe for timely replacement. 5. Oil change. This model is equipped with 5 engines, namely CG200, CG250, PR200, PR250, and PR300. The oil filling amounts are as follows: 1000 ml for the new CG engines and 900 ml more for maintenance. Add 1100 ml for the 3 new PR engines and 900 ml for maintenance. Whether the oil filling amount meets the standard can also be determined by the oil dipstick, and it is required that the oil level inside the upper and lower markings of the dipstick meets the standard when parked and turned off. It is recommended to use SJ grade engine oil and replace it every 2000 kilometers after the break-in period.